Hi guys! I'm so super excited right now. I've just come back from driving my truck for the first time and it was such an experience. Like, I'm gonna post a proper update. I guess it would have been a May update, wouldn't it? I've been so busy with exams and everything. I am so super stoked about it right now. It was like, I don't know. I don't think I've even ever been in a passenger in the vehicle of that size before, let alone driving one. I mean, I've only ever driven like, God, the cars that I've driven have, been like Nissan Micras and stuff like that. So it was just a different world. Oh, it was amazing. Like, the steering wheel, you're literally sat in the seat and the steering wheel's like up here and you're just like, yeah. And the thing that kind of like confused me a little bit was that when you change gears, it's like on a little car one, it's like like that. But like when you're driving a truck like that, it's like I'm like putting muscle behind it. Do you know what I mean? It was amazing. It was really really scary. The site manager down where my truck is parked is made of gold and has just kind of, I don't know. He's just a really sweet guy, and he wanted to. Basically, I've been having a bit of an issue because he's been warning me for probably about a month now that if I didn't get down on site and have a go at driving it, that my batteries were going to go flat. But I've had a lot of crap going on. I've had exams and everything, and I've literally just like not had the time to make it down there. And I went down there the other day for probably the first time in over a month, and yeah, it was dead. My batteries were totally dead, like not even a whisper when I tried to turn the ignition, so that wasn't great. I also learned that, so basically in my truck and in most lorries you have two 12-volt batteries, which makes together obviously like 24 volts, but you can't, because then I was just like, oh well, I can get a jump start, it's fine, but you can't because there's two 12-volt batteries and cars only have one 12-volt battery. So Tony, the site manager, has been painstakingly charging my batteries one by one through like a little charger, and it's taken a couple of days. And I made him a cake because I felt really guilty because he'd been warning me for like weeks that it was going to happen, and I just I didn't ignore him, but like I just had other stuff to worry about. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm like, he's now like cleaning up my mess basically. So yeah, he's been really really sweet. He's charged up my batteries for me. I went down there today and we put them in for the first time to see if my truck worked, and it did. But for anyone, like I feel like I should tell people because I didn't know this myself, and the reason I'm making these videos is to help people who, like myself, have no knowledge whatsoever. So in a truck, you've got your two 12-volt batteries, and they're obviously connected to each other and then connected to like elsewhere in the circuit. So you've got like one connection external and then one connection connected to the other battery, and that battery has another external connection. So like I'm probably not explaining this well at all, I'm really sorry, but basically because my truck was a commercial vehicle, it has a tachograph, like an analog, like I've been learning about this because I'm going to hopefully pass my theory test soon. But in the old trucks, you had like an analog tachograph that is literally, it's a bit like a clock on the dashboard, and it spins round and round and like logs your driving hours. And so in my truck, even though obviously I wasn't like charting with a tachograph or anything, I didn't realise this, but it spins round anyway all the time. So the whole time it's been sat down there, the tachograph has been going round and round and round and like slowly draining all the battery. And it's quite easy to get around that. And generally, if you're going to be parked up for a while, and this will certainly be something that I'm going to be thinking about when I'm living in it, if you're parked up for a while, you must break the circuit in the batteries, otherwise you're going to drain your batteries. So it's literally as simple as getting a spanner, such a div, unspannering the connection and just disconnecting it, and then that breaks the circuit, and then you're not like, your tachograph ain't going to spin or whatever, and you won't be draining your batteries. When I eventually apply to the DVLA to convert it to a motorhome, like the tachograph will become obsolete anyway, and I'll probably just try and like disconnect it. But yeah, at the moment it's still kind of active and spinning round. And Tony made the really good point of that, you know, when I come to like, I want to say doing the conversion properly, I'm trying really hard to get it off its feet right now, but that you, so one of the sort of external connections for the battery, you actually cut it as it's coming off the battery, wire it to a switch, and then wire the switch like off to the rest of everything. So when you park up, instead of having to like unscrew it, or you can just like literally flick a switch and it's kind of disconnected. So that will be something I can think about at a later date. But at the moment, just literally, if you're going to be parked up for a while like me and you've got those kind of batteries, just break the circuit on the batteries and then you'll be fine, especially if you've got a tachograph. So yeah, just like driving it today, it's quite, I feel quite relieved in a way, because obviously I bought a truck that I'd never driven. Not only had I never driven a truck like that, I hadn't driven mine, and it was kind of that thing of like, well, have I bought something that perhaps I can't drive for some reason? So now, I mean, I literally just drove it on site, round and round, and I did a couple of reversing manoeuvres. Boy, it's so weird, like because you're so long in the back and you've got such an overhang from your rear wheels, even though your steering wheel is massive and you're like putting power behind it while you're doing it, the tiniest movement on your steering wheel translates to a massive movement at the back. So like I was just in the beginning, I was just like completely oversteering, because like I was in car, I had my car head on, you know, where you've got like nothing at the back and you can whip it around and stuff. And it's so different. And I was like, I only put it into the wrong gear once, but it was really, really hard and strange to get the hang of the gear shift, because neutral is like, it's really low down. Like in a car, you're kind of like, everything seems like up here now. In a car, it's kind of there, and then you can like toggle it, and it's in neutral. But in the lorry, it's like right down near the floor, and like to put it into first, you literally are like leaning right down, like you're putting it into first and putting it into second, and it's what my mum used to call like loosey goosey. So when I was a kid, we used to have this really old Fiat Uno, and it didn't even have a fifth gear. It was just like mental, and you could change the gears without even depressing the clutch. Do you know what I mean? It was probably not great, but anyway. And she used to call that car loosey goosey, because when you changed the gears, it was literally just like, you just felt like you were like flinging it around, you know. And the truck reminds me very much of driving that car. It's just like there's no resistance, and you kind of, things clunk into place, and it's just, yeah, it's an experience. And the brakes as well, your service brake, oh my god, like you press it and it's like, it's really spongy, like really spongy, and then you like do the last little bit and then it's suddenly like bang. You know, it's, you know, it's all right, like, but very, very different. And it's gonna take me like several weeks of just driving to get used to that. I think I'm not taking my actual test in my truck, I'm taking it in a 12-tonner, which will be a lot more modern. So I think once I have passed my test, I'm literally just going to be taking it out at night when it's quiet and just getting the feel of it, because it was just so different from a car. Like you can start it in second gear and it goes, you know, like what? But I'm just so happy that I can actually drive it. That I didn't buy something I can't actually drive. And it's given me a lot more confidence to just feel like I can approach my practical with some idea of what it's going to be like and what I can expect. And I'm hoping that, you know, because my practical test is booked at the beginning of July, so I'm hoping that I can, you know, get a few more tries in before then, with my truck. So yeah, I just wanted to like film a little thing, because I don't want people to think that like I've forgotten about the project, or I think that's what Tony was worried about, you know. I think he thought when I didn't go down there for so long that I just kind of like lost interest or whatever. And you know, that's not the case. The case is that like I have a life that kind of has to come first, if that makes sense. Like I have to make sure that everything is okay, and then I do the truck, you know. And that's certainly why I've sort of struggled to get it off the ground. And then now financially I'm really, really worried about getting things off the ground. Like I don't want to do a really crap, like cheap job on it, you know. I know that I'm not going to be able to do everything that I want to do and have everything like nice and, you know, maybe like brand spanking new, but I want it to be not full of crap. So, you know, and if that means that things take a little bit longer, then I have to accept that to a certain extent. But the main issue at the moment is getting myself into a position where I can actually drive it. And that is what I'm working towards at the moment. And that is where all my finances are being poured at the moment. So I have a theory test booked on the 17th. That's for my hazard perception. And I have a mock, not a mock, what am I talking about? The multiple choice part of the LGV theory on the 19th. So I'm going to make a separate video though on like what it was like to book those and like studying for them or whatever when I get the time, because I feel again like there wasn't actually that much information out there and I have some stuff to share. So yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I'm still here, I'm still alive, I can still drive. See you soon.